This is Firefly, and this is the new endgame game mode, Apocalyptic Shadow, which is basically like boss raids. I'll break down Firefly's kit as we fight the bosses. However, note that this is done in the creator experience server, so this is not indicative of the final product. First off though, there is a major issue. As you guys saw, not only are the bosses extremely tanky with millions of HP, they also have new mechanics that will deal enough damage to squash our Firefly and her teammates. So therefore, I made a few adjustments to our Firefly's build. So to start off, we are running the free-to-play light cone on the fall of an Aeon. We're going to see how viable it is against these new bosses. As for Relics, we are running the new set for her. So basically, the 4-piece gives her a ton of defense shred depending on how much break effect she has, as well as defense shred for her super break damage. As for the 2-piece set, essentially it gives her a 6% increase in speed, and whenever we hit enemies that have fire weakness, it will give us 40% more break effect. So therefore, with this new set, not only does she not have a break effect issue, but she will be able to deal a ton of damage, especially with that defense shred. As for her main stats and substats, I am currently running speed and break effect substats with attack percent wherever I can, and also using attack percent main pieces. However, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a defensive piece. That is because the bosses hit so much that we need Firefly to survive, and therefore it's only a 3 to 4% DPS loss. So the DPS loss isn't too big, especially since Firefly is going to do a ton of damage. So I'm going to switch over to a defense body. As for boots, of course, it's always going to be speed, since break effect units will typically want to prioritize speed and break effect, right? As for her sphere, I'm currently running attack percent sphere and break effect rope. So the reason why we want so much attack is because there is a trace that converts her attack into break effect. Basically, every 10 of Sam's attack that exceeds 1800, we increase Sam's break effect by 0.8%. So just get attack wherever you can, whenever you can, but definitely prioritize speed, break effect, and survivability first. So since we know that speed and break stats are very important for Firefly, there is a certain speed breakpoint that is necessary for her, and the magic number is 151 or 140 if you're running someone like Ron May that could provide a speed boost. The reason is because of her ultimate here. Basically, it is very similar to Jinglu, where it will advance forward Firefly by 100% and give her a ton of new buffs and powers. So as you guys can see on screen will be all the buffs. However, the most important one that we want to talk about is the 60 speed. This extra 60 speed will allow us to hit 211 speed if we are sitting at 151 speed. However, there is a countdown timer for her ultimate placed on the action bar here. And so when this countdown timer takes its turn, Sam will exit her ultimate state. Now, the countdown timer has a fixed speed of 70. So if you guys take a look, if we divide 10,000 by 211, this will give us an action value cost of 47.39 per turn. But what about the countdown timer? How many action value units will it take until the countdown timer takes its turn, which will then take Firefly out of her combustion state? The answer to that is 10,000 divided by 70, which gives us 143 action value units. So therefore, how many buff turns can we get before we reach the countdown timer? 3.015 extra turns. So therefore, anything that is less than 211 speed when she is in her combustion state will cause Firefly to exit early, leading to only 2 extra turns instead of 3 extra turns. As for her basic attack and her skill, I will explain it during the showcase, but essentially you will want to avoid using her basic attack and prioritize using her skill every time. As for her teammates, typically the builds are very much the same, nothing really much change, except for the fact that we want the speed of our allies to be a little bit faster than her so that we could go before her, right? And of course our Ron May, which enhances brick efficiency. Alrighty, let's begin. It is time. So this is very similar to MOC or Pure Fiction, right? Where we have 2 sides, Node 1 and Node 2. But in this case, as you guys can see here, this is mainly just a boss fight. So there are no trash mobs except for the one that the bosses summon. So the Ruinous Embers are very similar to our Turbulence buffs. The boss traits are basically the boss buffs. For example, they take less damage unless we weakness break them. And they will also be immune to toughness break unless we kill the minions first. And basically other stuff like doing more follow-up attacks. whenever they attack. And overall, just a ton of buffs that basically enhances the boss and makes them very, very strong. We also get Finality Axiom, which is very similar to Pure Fiction, where we could select a certain buff in order to enhance our playstyle, right? For example, if we're in a break team, I would use Sundered Paradise, which will increase our allies' break effect by 50%, as well as giving us speed whenever we deal super break damage to our enemies for one action. So we're going to use that. So first off, we're going to start off by using our techniques. And as you guys will see here, when we use Firefly's technique, we basically get a nuke. And whenever she lands, she will apply weakness break, fire weakness break to all of our enemies, as you guys can see there, and deal toughness damage to it, right? But there's an issue. The bosses are extremely fast. So fast, in fact, that even with Ron Main using the 2-piece Von Whack and with over 150 speed, we still won't be able to catch up to them. But that's good for us because that allows us to get the required amount of energy. So I'm just going to go ahead and use our ultimate with Ron May here, immediately giving us that 25% res pen. I'm going to go ahead and use my skill with Harmony Trailblazer. That should be able to give us the ultimate. However, I'm going to hold the ultimate until Firefly transform, or basically until the enemy's weakness is really low so that we could break him in order to save the Watchmaker 4-piece set bonus, right? Here, we want to focus our part. As you guys can see on the top right, it says defeat summon enemies to weaken the boss. But first, take a look at this. If I use her basic attack, we don't consume HP. When we use her skill, we will consume HP. But if you take a look, our action value will advance by 25%. Furthermore, we also will want to use our skill as well, as it provides us 60% of Sam's energy. With a normal attack, that's only going to give us 20 energy, which will put us at 170. However, if we use our skill, 60% of 240 will be 144 energy, which will give us way more than enough energy needed in order to get our ultimate. That is why her skill is very important to gain energy. So here, we're going to focus Chapard. We deal 60 toughness damage. We do get our ultimate right away. However, I'm going to go ahead and normal attack with Gallagher first in order to heal our allies. So basically, that's going to ensure that we will be able to break Chapard with our Firefly. So I'm going to immediately use Firefly's ultimate as well as Harmony Trailblazer's ultimate right after. So this is going to advance forward her, and I'm going to go ahead and use our ultimate with Harmony Trailblazer, giving Firefly that boost, right? But yes, now Sam's weakness break efficiency also increases by 50%, and we also gain a ton of break effect. Let's see how much break effect we have currently. 520% break effect, and that is with her free-to-play light cone, not even using her signature light cone for that, right? And so let's see the damage here. We're about to set Chapard ablaze. 374,000 damage. Chapard is now in his weakness broken state. We are so fast that indeed we are going to be taking another turn really quickly. And so we're going to use that to focus down Chapard again, right? After we get bullied first though. So therefore, we want to focus enemies that are in their weakness broken state, as we will compound that with Harmony Trailblazer's ultimate, and therefore we're going to get 2 instances of super breaks, right? Boom. As you guys saw, 2 instances of super break, and now Chapard is pretty much a goner. So let's just finish him off with our Ron May here. We're going to go ahead, and since we can't weakness break any of our enemies with Harmony Trailblazer, I'm just going to normal attack. As you guys can see, the boss is not weak to anything. In order for the boss to be weak to something, we need to either kill the enemies in order for us to transfer the weakness to the boss. For example, if I kill this mob here, it's going to transfer wind weakness and quantum weakness to the boss. Or the other way is to implant weakness break with Firefly. So as you guys will see in just a second, that is what I'm going to do. We're going to implant fire weakness to Cocolia here, which is so damn broken, right? So that is exactly what we're going to do. And we're also going to... Ooh, that is tough. We didn't want to break the boss there with that. That's totally okay. Things like that are going to happen, but now we will still be able to deal a ton of damage. We do not have our 4-piece buff set from Harmony Trailblazer, so I'm going to go ahead and use Harmony Trailblazer's ultimate to give Firefly that buff. Now we're going to go ahead and use our skill, and this should be a ton of damage here. There we go. 565,000 damage. Skill again in order to get the efficiency. Skill with Harmony Trailblazer. And that's going to deal a ton of also... Wow. Okay, that's also going to deal 126,000 damage with our super break. We're going to go ahead and normal attack with Gallagher, ultimate, and also deal another set of super break damage to Cocolia. And now Firefly should be able to finish off here. And now we're going to use our skill and finish off Cocolia for another 561,000 damage. Dude, I'm still so surprised to see 561,000 single target damage. and it still doesn't even kill the boss, which is ridiculous. Also, another thing to note is that we do have this timer here, remaining action value. So instead of cycles, it's based on our action value remaining, meaning that the higher the speed, the better it is for this game mode, or as much damage in order to kill the enemy fast enough. So as you guys can see, when we use our skill in our normal version and our normal state, we do not get the fire weakness implant. So I'm gonna go ahead and focus the statue here, and then we're gonna ultimate right away in order to get the buff state so that we could implant the fire weakness onto Cocolia. And this is also gonna break the enemy as well. However, this is the scary part. As you guys can see on the left hand side, Cocolia is gonna take quite a bit of turns. You guys will see how ridiculously OP she is. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and focus Cocolia and cleave off the enemies. Then we're gonna go ahead and use our ultimate with Run May, and then we'll continue with a basic attack to our enemy here. And now Cocolia takes her turn, and you guys will see the ridiculousness of her. Oh my goodness. 3, 4 turns, 5 turns. She charges up, and look at her speed. She has so much speed that she's gonna take... Oh my god, I panicked. I thought I was gonna die there. I panicked. That's totally okay. We're gonna go ahead and ultimate with Gallagher. We're gonna go normal attack Cocolia. This is good for us because Firefly can now break Cocolia with her skill and deny her that huge attack that she's gonna use, right? But first, we're gonna ultimate with Harmony Trailblazer to give us that super break boost. And now we're gonna break Cocolia here, which will deny her the super damage that she's gonna do, and that is good for us. And then we also get our ultimate back. That's from the Turbulence buff. And we're gonna go ahead and use our skill into Gallagher's ultimate. That's gonna be able to deal quite a bit of damage to Cocolia. And now we're gonna basic attack Cocolia. This should now finish her off, hopefully. Let's see. Almost 563,000 damage. That is pretty good. That is not bad at all. And then finish off Cocolia with our Harmony Trailblazer. Oh, never mind. I lied. We're gonna finish off with Gallagher. I should have finished off with Firefly, but hey, alas, it is what it is. But what about her signature light cone, Zeto? How much better is it? So after testing it a bit in Apocalyptic Shadow, her signature light cone is good, but definitely not necessary at all. As you guys can see here, versus Argenti, on the Fall of an Aeon dealt 600,000 damage, and her signature light cone did 647,000 damage. This is about an 8% difference, but ultimately the results were still the same. I was able to get a score of 3,628 with the F2P light cone. As for the signature light cone, I was also able to get the exact score of 3,628 as well. However, I will be fully testing both of these light cones in the other content like Memory of Chaos in my next Firefly videos that will compare 9 different Firefly builds and teams at different investment points, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that.